Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial on Vue.js. And in this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through creating a simple component using Options API in Vue.js. So I already have a few examples here of these components, but I would prefer that we create a new component from scratch. So let me go here in the components folder and just create a component here called example component.vue. I'm using here Pascal syntax. So both my names, the first letter is going to be capital. So now let's import this component that we created. So before we import this component, let's create the script tags. So for people who are doing Vue for the first time, we uses a script tag to write the component code, and whatever template we have for that component goes inside the template. And to specify the language, where we can specify TypeScript as a language for this script. And as we are going to use the options API, we don't have to specify setup, right? Because that's not required. We can just say the language is TypeScript. Now, options API will firstly export a default object with data method as an object inside it. So that's, let me add a div tag over here, right? This is going to be the default template of an options API component in Vue.js. Now in the app, I want to import this example component. Let's make sure that this is imported. Let's remove all the other components here, right? Now, let me just take the output. So let's go to the localhost 5174 3 port. And currently we don't have any output because I'm not uh, actually printing anything from the template. So if I add a header, let's say hello from example component. So you can see here that that's going to be reflected in my component. All right. Now let's understand what we can do with options API now. So this data over here in this data method, we cannot change this to my data method. It's inbuilt and it's a pre-built method inside Vue.js. So we have to use it as data only. We can actually add our data here inside whatever data this component is going to hold. So we can return that data as an object. So let's say this component is going to have a country as Australia. Then it's going to have some data like employee name is John Doe. It might also have some array, let's say, of products, Australia. Let's say the products could be almonds, uh, oranges, and Samsung Galaxy 3. So I'll change this example to phones, something. So let's say iPhone and Xiaomi, or let's say LG smartphone and Samsung Galaxy 3, right? So that becomes the three different products that we have over here. Now, for the type checking error, I will just disable TypeScript type checking for now. Make sure we have everything else ready. Right now, if you want to print all this data that this component is holding inside our template, we can just maybe create some template here inside, and let's say H3, and the country is right. So you can see that this template is getting here. Now to print any dynamic variable, I will use string interpolation, which is double curly brackets opening and closing, and pass the variable name inside it. That's going to print that variable in the template for you, right? Same way for employee name, I can do that. So let's add another small tag and say the employee name is emp name. That's going to print the employee name for us. Now, when it comes to products, so products is basically product property stores an array So we need to use some kind of a directive to print an array inside here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an ordered list, and inside that order list an li tag will come, and inside this li tag we're going to add a directive called v4, which is going to take item in products as a value, and then here we are going to just specify item. Now there will be an error over here which says that you need to bind this to the key. So we can use v bind, and we can say item dot id. So colon key, yeah. So the shorthand would be just using colon key, but I would still prefer using v bind. So uh, for this tutorial, but if you want to go ahead, you can also use the shorthand like colon key. But in case your memory might forget it, it's better always to have the complete syntax, as we need to use the bind a directive here, so that to specify the key of this array as well. Now you can see that the array, all the items of the array, iPhone, LG, smartphone, and Samsung Galaxy 3 are now printed in this ordered list in a ordered fashion, right? So let me refresh it once. Yeah, here you go. So this was a simple example of creating component using options API in Vue.js, and here is how we can bind the data to the template. In the next tutorial, let's see how we can add methods in the options API. So if you have any doubts regarding this tutorial, please leave your comment in the comment section below. So I'll see you in the next tutorial.